Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode in our Python series, learning that Python through building hacky stuff. It's going to be a lot of fun today because it's not it's not an episode I expected to teach properly. I was going to kind of bake it in, but in my last episode, in episode 4, David in the comments pointed out that some of my code was a little clunky. It wasn't well optimized, and I laughed out loud because I saw the exact same thing at the end of the last video and thought, can I don't have enough time. I can't do this. There's not enough time in this video. I'll have to start doing this in other videos. And I thought, maybe it's a good idea to make it its own video. And this is something we call refactoring. That's where you look at your code and go, is this the best way to do this? A lot of times, it's probably not. Your first run at something is it's going to work, but it's not going to be great, right? But looking at your code, going back, maybe have someone look at your code and say, hey, well, you see any places I can make this better? Optimize this, make it better, right? Reduce some code lines, make it more readable, that kind of stuff. Always a great idea. So I'm just decided, you know what? I'm going to turn the camera on. I'm going to make a video all about refactoring. And that's what we're going to do. That's what's going to be a lot of fun. Let's jump in. Here's our old code, right? Here's the code from the last episode. We're going to refactor this code. We're going to make it better, stronger, right? The $6 million code, as it were. And this does all the things we want it to do. But one of the things I like to look for when it comes to refactoring is repetition. Am I repeating myself? Am I doing stuff over and over and over again? And that really happens a lot when you start copy pasta and thing, when you do copy paste code. So like I wrote the banner, right? And then I pasted it in here because it wasn't running at the end of the episode. I was like, oh yeah, it's not running. And my mind just went to the idea of, well, it's got to go in the else block, right? It's just, I was thinking really logically through each step without thinking, oh, how can the code really work with this? It was more like, how does my brain work with this, right? This does happen to a lot of us. So I just copied it, pasted it into that else block. But is that the best way of doing it? Remember, Python is a scripting language. It just starts from the top and works its way down. So if we're starting from the top, we see, okay, we're setting the environment, we're importing sys, then we're importing requests, and then we hit this if and print the banner, and then we do all this stuff with the URL, and then else we print the banner, and then we do all this stuff with the URL. There's a lot of repetition going on here. It's not a lot of code, right? We're at 30 some odd lines. That's cool. We can make this better. We can do better than this. So what we need to do is reduce the repetition. Can we get away with doing it once instead of multiple times? And with that banner, it's absolutely true, right? I don't need the banner I don't need it inside the if block or the else block. It doesn't need to worry about that in either of those places. My mind was just thinking, if, then, do, and I was probably because I was teaching it to you. It was, if this, do that. If we have that, I want you to do all these things. Else, you need to do all these things. And some of those things were the same. But I don't necessarily need it here. I can grab this. I just cut it. Nope, don't need you there. Cool. Reduce lines. And guess what? I don't need it here either. Cut. Nope. Appreciate it. Have a great day, right? So what am I going to do? I'm, again, reducing lines. I'm going to do it outside the if block. It's a scripting language. It starts from the top and works its way down. Control V that monkey in there. And of course, it's got all those tab overs because it was indented, but because it's no longer under an if block, Shift Tab, it doesn't need to be indented. Actually, it would probably throw an error going, hey, this does not belong. So one of these things is not like the other. One of these things does not belong. It does not need to be indented any longer because it is not underneath that if or else block. So I remove the tabs and the banner just happens. So if we look at this the way Python sees it in its brain, quote unquote, it says, okay, environment, importing sys, importing request, print the banner, and then check for command line arguments. If there are more than one command line arguments, then do this stuff, right? Take input, or this is read that in and put it into our target URL variable, and then make the request and print out the URL that we used and the status code. Because if we go down to else, here we do have a difference than what we have here, because obviously this is taking in from the command line argument. Otherwise, if there is no command line argument, if it is less than 1, then it's going to do this, right? Target URL equals enter target URL. And we're going to take input from the end user. So that is a different way of getting it. That's not the same code. But everything else underneath it is, right? Again, repetition is happening. So now, guess what I can do? I can cut this out. Cut it out. Joey Gladstone. I'm Full House, man. It's my childhood. I can't get away from it. And now I can take this part right here, because it was repetitious, and just, whoop, that's not what I want to do. I hit enter instead of shift tab. Remove it from the else block. I will also put a space there because it makes it more readable. At least it does to me. You do you, but I like putting spaces between blocks of stuff that do things. And now, again, let's think of it as if we were Python. Python says, set the environment, import sys, import requests, print the banner, check to see if there's a command line argument. If so, then slap that command line argument, whatever that may be, into target URL. Awesome. Otherwise, with the else, grab input from the user. Ask them for the target URL, have them input that, and it will go into target URL. Everything else, now that we're done, now that we've achieved target URL one way or another, we can now run requests because we have the value of target URL. Yay, go us. Now we've reduced our code, right? I'm liking this. I'm feeling good. Now, let's see. Everything hopefully is workified and will work. Let me give it a little save, right? So I'm going to do the file, save as. I'm going to call this brute force v4 and save this. And let's go here and I'm going to chmod plus x brute force dash v4 dot py. And that way we can just run brute force dash v4, bam. Now, if I don't give it a command line argument, it should prompt me, prints the banner, and prompts me. Excellent. And I'll just use, I'll use example.com. I won't worry about BWAP for this example. It was kind of off the cuff anyway. So www.example.com. I think example.com is a useful thing. We hit enter. Oh no. I'm getting an error. Okay, so it says request.exceptions.missing schema. Invalid URL. www.example.com. No schema supplied. Perhaps you meant HTTPS. Oh, that's right. There, you have to tell it an HTTP. That is a part of the requests thing. It's letting me know that, hey, bruh, you straight forgot that you got to set that schema or this ain't going to work. And it even gave me a good hint of, hey, did you mean HTTPS? I absolutely did. Let's see if that works. So we'll do https://www.example.com. And now everything works fine. Of course, I can do the same thing here, https://www.example.com. And it works just the same. Everything's going fine. You know what, though? I want to deal with this, because it's quite possible. And I don't necessarily want to give you this kind of, because who knows what it could be. I just want to give it a generic, hey, you did something wrong kind of thing. So let's do that. Let's just add a try except at the end here. And honestly, let's see here. What I guess I want to do is try, right? Yeah, I want to try that, try requests.url, and then print all this stuff. Yeah, that's right. That's what I want. Working my way through it in my mind. And then except for when things go shenanigans wrong, we're going to print, let's see here. We will print information. Oh, look at this. Hey there, brother, you got yourself a little problem with your URL. So we're going to say issue with target URL, and that looks fine. And then we'll print usage print. How about that? That's what we'll do. We'll say bang, bang, bang like that. Usage and something like this. And we'll say /brute force.py. Don't worry about the revisioning thing. It's basically just an example to help them. And then we'll make sure to put https : target .com or whatever the case is, right? Target system, target URL. I guess target URL is going to be better. URL. Like so. That way they know, hey, make sure it has all these elements. At least it's something, right? It doesn't just give you a bunch of junk to the text. That's fine. And maybe I would want to keep that. Maybe I would, because it was pretty informational, right? It did have what I needed. Like, hey, you forgot the schema. I'm sure there's other ways I could screw this up and forget something. Not a whole lot, right? If the URL doesn't come back, if we give it a gobbledygook, let's try a gobbledygook before we do this. Let's try somewhere that we probably know doesn't have a place to go.com, right? Yeah, we got another error. So there are a few different errors we could get. This one is connection error. Hey, we got port 443 max retries exceeded with URL causing name resolution issues. Yeah, it's telling me, so we just need to tell people to check their URL and make sure that it's good. I think that's going to be the best way to go about this without dumping all this to the screen. It's telling me method, URL. Yeah, I think that's the best way to go about this. So we'll tell people, check your URL. And so we'll put that there. And I think that's good. But we'll add one more print. And do this. No more copy pasta for Daniel. Check your URL for issues. I'll just say check your URL. Bam. I like it. Bam, bam, bam. Okay, Control S. Now when we run it with a bunch of weirdo stuff, so I'll just rerun what I just did. Right? Oh, I forgot something. I did not have... Yep, there's the problem. There's your problem right there. You got yourself the wrong thing, son. Oh my goodness. I totally messed those prints up. Yes, that's not how that works. That's what I was looking for. That is what I was looking for. You see, your brain is a funny thing, and it can just make you blind to certain things at certain times. What are you going to do? Now save it. Cools. Yeah, check your URL, right? Here's your usage. And issues with target URL gives you the usage. Check your URL. I think that's better. It's cleaner. It's prettier. Let's do something that actually works. Example.com. Yeah, beautiful. And then, of course, if we give it nothing and we give it HTTP : right, to do HTTPS. Yes, there we go. .example.com. That's wonderful. What happens if I give it gobbledygook? HTTPS : www.stuffystuff.com. Yep. It says, no, that's a problem. You got yourself a problem. Everything working a whole lot better. Whew. There we go. We've refactored, right? We made things a whole lot smoother. We had to try except because there are errors that we might not be prepared for. And it's probably where we're taking in those issues. And maybe we have to change that down the road. We might have to refactor again, depending on what functionality we add to the code, right? Might have to add some more. Hey, you might have a problem here, and give people some help with that. But there you go. Refactoring is something you got to get used to. It's definitely worth the juice is worth the squeeze, as they say, to optimize that code. Thank you, David, once again for jumping in the comment section and validating my own thoughts. I appreciate that. I appreciate you for joining me today. Be on the lookout for more in our Python series. It's going to be a lot of fun. Got more to do. So you got to join me there. What do you got to do? Hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell thing so you know when these episodes drop. You can be first to the market. All right? It's going to be a lot of fun. I hope to see you there. Until next time, keep hacking.